Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Nobody Show. So recently, I watched the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite trailer. I'm not trailer. God, what am I talking about? Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite movie storyline, where everyone kind of takes the little movie clips from the video game, puts it all together to make a cohesive little movie out of it. And I watched it recently, and man, did I tell myself I gotta make a video of this. Oh, it's just, it's not good. It's not good, in my opinion. It's just not. Now, for those of you that are watching it, if you wanted to play MVC Infinite, or you wanted to watch it for yourself, by all means, go watch it, go play it. You do you and enjoy yourself. But I'm gonna be kind of a little bit spoiler heavy here, so if you don't want to know story beats, don't listen. Go play it, go watch it somewhere else, come back, and I'll talk about it. Now, like I said, this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying that it is good, it is bad. This is the definitive answer. This is all personal. It's all coming from my perspective. So if you don't agree with it, then hey, you don't. That's cool. You enjoyed it. If you do agree with it, then hey, more power to you. So let's get right into it, and let's start off with the animation. My God, is it so bad? It is terrible. Like, MVC3 was cool. For those of you that don't know what MVC3 means, Marvel vs. Capcom, the third installment. MVC3 was great. The animations were cool. The movement was cool. Every character had their own animations, their own cool design to them. They all looked like they were straight out of a comic book, but they looked like cohesive characters. You could look at Deadpool and be like, that's Deadpool. You could look at Dante and be like, man, that's Dante, from Devil May Cry. Same thing with Wesker. You look at him, that's Wesker. But same thing with any of the characters, and their personalities all fit. What they said, how they acted, it's cool. The animation for MVC Infinite, at least in what I saw and all like the cutscenes and everything, it's garbage. It is so bad. Like, the characters talk all the time. I mean, granted, of course. But when they talk in their dialogue, their mouth barely moves. It's like one of those really bad like Japanese dubs from like the old, like the old Godzilla films. Granted, those have a special place in my heart. They're bad, but man, do I love them. But it's the same thing. Like, the character will just move their mouth and talk in any way, and the words will just funnel out. Like, there's no cohesive lip movements, or like how their mouth works, or their eyes, or how if they're surprised or not, or anything. Every character is so monotone, has the same look through the whole thing. It's like, did you guys expect this to happen? No one's ever surprised. Nobody's ever nervous. No one's ever actually speaking. They're just moving their mouth. It's like a ventriloquist dummy. And oh man, it's just bad. And I'm like, why is this? Why? How did you get this so wrong? Like, how did you get it so wrong? Now, the graphics they went with is away from the comic bookish design that MVC3 was. This one's more of like, I would have put it as like a Capcom animated type game. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. But it's just bad. Like, the art style is cool. I could see what they were going with, but it just didn't work, especially for an MVC game. It just didn't work. And I wanted it to work so bad, but it doesn't, and it's disappointing. Away from the mouth dialogue, just some of the other animation is horrible. Like, Rocket Raccoon's animation is probably the worst in the entire game. It is horrible. Like, Rocket's supposed to be, the smart aleck little raccoon that, moves, and you're supposed to see all of his fur and see his mouth move and his eyes and everything. Rocket doesn't do any of that. He's like a cookie cutter, like you dipped him in starch and he just doesn't move. It's so bad. His fur is badly animated. His mouth only has one function, just opens and closes, that doesn't move in any way. His whiskers look fake. His whole character design looks fake. He doesn't have any huge guns with him. In MVC3, he had an awesome design. He had all kinds of weapons he carried with him, all kinds of launchers, all kinds of stuff that he did, and he was cool. In this one, it's like Rocket is on crack. Like, it's really bad. And it's like, man, how did you make, such a good character cool? Now, that's a Rocket as an animated raccoon. His rendition is bad. There's several other animated renditions that are terrible in this game. Let me start off with Doctor Strange after Rocket. Doctor Strange is supposed to be this mystical, cool kind of leader character, and granted, that's kind of what he plays a little bit in the storyline. But the way he's animated it again is garbage. His cape doesn't move through the whole game, and it bothered me so much because, oh my god, Doctor Strange's cloak, the cloak of levitation, is supposed to be this long flowing cloak that protects him and what's the word I'm looking for? Accentuates, I think that's the right word I'm looking for, his character and who he is, and gives him like this mystical persona of mystery, and but at the same time he's like this really powerful guy amongst the realms. He is the same, that starch outline. His cloak is just so badly outlined. And the animation is bad. It doesn't move. The cloak doesn't move. He can turn. He can walk. He can jump. He can bend over. He can throw mystical spells at people and teleport people. The cloak doesn't move. It's stationary the whole time. It doesn't flow. It doesn't bend. It doesn't anything. It's like someone took a cardboard cloak and just glued it onto him and said, "Here you go, doctor. Like, that's your cloak." And I hated it. And it sounded like his dialogue and the voice actor sounded like he wanted to have like a French accent with Strange, and like you can subtly hear it at some points, but it doesn't work because it's like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Sometimes I'm going to sound like I'm going to be having a French accent. Sometimes I won't, or I'm borderline, or like even Italian. It doesn't make any sense. Along with that, moving away from Doctor Strange, moving on to Dante. Dante and Gamora. I'm sorry, let me group both of them together. Dante and Gamora and Chun-Li have the worst facial renditions that are so close to Rocket's. Like, the animation for their faces and the renditions that they have for the face on all three of those characters are horrible. It's horrible. It's like all of their eyes are sunken in, like none of them had slept in years. All of them look like they have the same just copy and pasted eyes on each of the characters. The eyes don't move. They stay the same. It's like they never act surprised, never anything. It's like a badly animated Sonic game, but for MVC. Like, it's horrible. Like, none of the eyes have any definition to them. None of them are different. Every character has the same eyes, just copied and pasted on each different character, and just has different colors to them because the character is a different color or has on some headpiece or something else. Like, but other than that, the eyes are the same. The eyes look just sunken in, like everyone's on drugs. Like, it's really bad. Just really bad. And oh my god, like, and the character, like, the renditions, like the cartoonish design just doesn't work for some of the characters. Now, for some of the Capcom characters, it works. And some of the Marvel characters, it doesn't. Like Chris Redfield looking cartoony doesn't look right. Like, it just looks weird. I mean, same thing with Rocket looking cartoony, like in that little, like in the way that the art style they chose doesn't look right. Same thing with Gamora. She looks like the lime green Hulk from Ang Lee's Hulk. Like, it's just, it's bad. Now, the Capcom characters, most of them look pretty decent for the art style. But like I said, the Marvel characters, they just don't look good. Like, it just doesn't look good at all. And granted, that's what they chose, but just man, I just can't get it out of my head, and it's just bad. Now, some positives with the animations. Some of the characters actually look decent with the cartoonish animation that they have. Like I said, the Hulk is one of those characters. I think he benefits a little bit. He's more Capcomed out per se. He's not so comic booky, but that little cartoonish, vibe that you get is nice. It's a little refreshing for the Hulk. Like, okay, that fits, a little bit, and I liked that. I also liked Mega Man's rendition and Zero for the cartoonish aspect. It works really well for those two. It also works well for one of the villains. I forget his name. He's the purple villain. It works well for him. That rendition. It also works well for I can't remember his name. Is it Frank West? Yeah, Frank West. It works kind of well for him too. And Arthur. Other than that, not really. Not really for any of the human characters. It's just bad. Now, let's get into some more negatives with the choice of character and story usage of said characters. The overall story is that Ultron Sigma, so Sigma from Capcom, Ultron from Marvel, have fused together to make the perfect being, and they want to take over the world. And essentially how they do that is they're pretty much everywhere, and they get the Sigma virus, which turns everybody kind of into just an android robot that Ultron Sigma wants to make into a hive mind to control the world. Now, they also do this by creating a symbiote with the character from Capcom, the purple guy. I forget his name. I really do. I'm sorry for anyone that's a big Capcom lover, but they team up with him to make a giant symbiote to take over the city to fight our heroes, and then but it's pretty much it. Now, throughout the story, you figure out way at the beginning that all the villains, Ultron, Sigma, Thanos, Death from Marvel, she's also in the game, all came together to take over Earth. And Thanos basically told Ultron, there's this barrier I can't get through. You can, you can take over Earth, and then, we can split power. You can have this, I can have this, we'll be on our way. And basically, Ultron Sigma betrays Thanos in the end and gets with Death and the other character from Capcom. And, they basically betray Thanos, and he gets imprisoned, and then Thanos is pissed, and basically it just all that happens, and then Thanos has to team up with the heroes, and then he kind of betrays the heroes to a point. Not really, I'll explain that later. And then kind of gets back at Ultron Sigma and Death, because Death is like Thanos' girlfriend in the comic books. So that's the story. Now, if it sounds really convoluted, that's because it is. I mean, at the same time, they're all on the search for the Infinity Stones, too, because Ultron Sigma has 2 Infinity Stones. The heroes need to find the rest, but Thanos is the only one that knows where the Infinity Stones are, so he tells the heroes where they're at, and they got to go get them. And at the same time, they mess up, so this big spaceship with the Ultron Sigma virus is crashing into Earth while the symbiote is attacking, and they lose one of the Infinity Stones. It's a mess. It's a mess. There's just so much going on. You get how everything ties together. Cool. But there's so many things that don't need to be used. My personal opinion, why did you even choose Ultron Sigma to be the villain? Why? You should have just had the villain be Thanos. There's Thanos with the Infinity Stones. There's your story. Thanos has the Infinity Stones. Ultron Sigma maybe wanted to take it over. Oh, maybe, Capcom's like, oh, well, we need a baddie from ours. Marvel's like, we need a baddie from ours. Well, we got Ultron. We got Sigma. Combine them, Ultron Sigma, fight Thanos. Boom. There's your story. With the Infinity Stones. There's your story. Instead of this mess that there's just so many plot holes going in through all of it. You have, like I said, you have the symbiote. You have the thing falling from space. You have Thanos maybe, knowing he's going to betray the team at the end. All the other heroes. You have Ultron Sigma. You have Death. You have the other Capcom character getting with Death to bring some new world that they're going to combine together where nothing in his can die, and that's only about Death. That they're going to take over Earth. You have characters that are taken over by Ultron Sigma that the heroes have to fight. You have other heroes that don't want to give up their Infinity Stones because it's a convoluted disaster. And I'm like, it's like a Saturday morning Power Rangers theme put into MVC, and it's barbaric. Like I can't even get into just how insane it is. Now, like I said, with the choice of character in this game, why are some of these characters in here? Nobody wanted these characters. Why is Rocket, Raccoon, and Gamora in here? Nobody wanted Gamora. Like, sure, you have, Guardians of the Galaxy. Put Groot and Rocket in the game. Put Star-Lord and Rocket in the game. Rocket, whatever, fine. He's in MVC3. But putting Groot instead of Gamora, nobody wanted Gamora in the game. Now, I know there's a lot of lovers of, like, Frank West and, and Chris Redfield from the Resident Evil franchise. Resident Evil Chris Redfield and the, Dead Rising franchise for Frank West. And some other characters, but why? What story purpose do they serve? Chris Redfield is literally at the beginning of the game. It opens with Ultron Sigma already formed, and the heroes are fighting on the Rainbow Bridge. And Chris Redfield is fighting these warriors from Asgard and Ultron Sigma by shooting them with pistols. That's not gonna work. You have Thor with his hammer, Cap with his shield, Mega Man with whatever his whatever Mega Man does. You have Chun-Li and Captain Marvel, fighting. They're all these super powered beings. Iron Man, blasting Ultron Sigma. Thor, like I already said, and then you got Chris Redfield. Why? And then I guess Chris Redfield isn't going to do anything for you in that battle. It's like the end battle of Batman vs. Superman, where literally Batman's sitting back fighting Doomsday because he's going to get wrecked. Like, it's the same thing with Chris Redfield. And granted, I like the role Chris plays in this game. He's kind of like pseudo-leader for the Capcom side, with Cap being the the leader for the Marvel side. But why? Like, what purpose does he serve? And then later on in the game, there's this facility that he goes to, where it's some zombified facility, and then he ultimately meets up with Spider-Man and Frank West. And it's like Frank West is a dude with a camera and a bunch of other stuff he can beat you with. What is he going to do against a giant symbiote the size of the Empire State Building, Ultron Sigma, Thanos, and Death? Like, what is Frank West going to do? I mean, have him in the game, sure, but don't have him be a central character. Not only that, some of the beats in here I don't understand. Like, where's Wesker? Why isn't Wesker in the game? You took him out. You took out, what's her name? Oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. But the main girl from Resident Evil, the main protagonist that was in MVC3, why isn't she in the game? You have Nemesis in the game, why is Nemesis in the game? Nobody wants Nemesis in the game. Put in Leon. Put in somebody else from the Resident Evil franchise. Where the hell did Wesker go? Wesker would be able to fight these people, not Chris Redfield. It's like, I don't understand some of the choices that were made for here. Not only that, some of the places that they go to in the story, like, for example, they're like one of the Infinity Stones, like the Life Stone to bring zombies, which makes sense. Okay, that's cool. Is in Umbrella Corp. All right. But it's not called Umbrella Corp. It's called Aimbrella Corp. What the hell? Like, why? Just call it Umbrella. Like, that's what it is. And then you have MODOK is the leader of Aimbrella, which is like, aim for the Iron Man organization, Umbrella for Resident Evil. Let's mix them together and make Aimbrella. Stupid. And then you have MODOK being the leader of Aimbrella. Stupid. Why would you have that in the first place? Not only that, there's another part in the story where they go to Wakanda to fight Black Panther for the Infinity Stone. Why isn't Black Panther just a part of the team in the first place? He's a war leader. He has things that, pulls strings and resources. Why wouldn't you recruit him or have him be a central character in the first place? Granted, what would he do? He just fights, but you can use him for his resources as a character, as a king. And they never use that, ever. Not only that, it pissed me off so bad that the place he comes from is called Wakanda. Wakanda with a W. In the game, they pronounce it Valkanda. Valk. Valkanda. And man, did that piss me off. Because it's not Valkanda, it's Wakanda. It's not Umbrella, it's Umbrella. Why did you change the names? It's so stupid. Like, why would you do that? And oh my god. And I mean, not only that, they also try to, in the story, they also try to throw in bits of Civil War in there for like 5 seconds, and it just is forced and doesn't make sense. It's like, why? Oh, it's a headache, is what it is. It's a headache. And it's like, you've had so many good ideas, but it's completely botched. Like, completely. And there's so many other characters you could have introduced that aren't in the game, or old characters that people wanted that aren't in the game. Like, for example, where's Beautiful Joe? He's not in the game. Where's Wesker? He's not in the game. Is it Jill Valentine from Resident Evil? I think I remembered her name. Where is she? Not in the game. You have Dante. That's great. Where's Virgil? Not in the game. The Marvel side, you had Taskmaster and Deadpool in the past games. Where are they? Not in the game. There's just so many characters you could have put in. I mean, granted, you can't put in the X-Men anymore in those games, I don't think, because, you know, there's a bunch of licensing garbage that's going on and all that jazz. But put in some other central villains, man, from the Marvel side. Like, you have a vast array of heroes you can choose from. Bring some back, why don't you? Like, I don't understand why you don't do that. Same thing with Capcom. There's so many other things you could do. Why haven't you done that? Where's Beautiful Joe, too? He's not in the game. Like, I don't understand. But yet you have Arthur in the game. Great. It's like, why? And it just baffles me that it's in there. And same thing with Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider just shows up at some other time in the game. He's not even at the central story. He just is there. Like, he just shows up. I'm gonna claim vengeance because I'm Ghost Rider. Oh, why? You don't do anything. Nothing. And oh my god. And it's just like, it just baffles me. And like with Spider-Man too. Spider-Man just kind of shows up in the game because he's like, Tony Stark gave me a call, and for Chris Redfield, he's like, Tony Stark gave me a call, and I thought you could use some help, and Redfield's like, I don't need help, and he helps him anyways. And man, Spider-Man is supposed to be this teen who's like a skinny kid with strength. He was depicted in that in MVC 1, MVC 2, MVC 3. Spider-Man has always been kind of like this skinnier character who just does Spider-Man, because that's what Spider-Man is. Spider-Man is juiced in this game. He's huge. He's so big. You would think he's as big as Zangief. His shoulders are like tires. Like, he is a monster in this game. Like, what happened to you? Did you start lifting weights, Spider-Man? Like, I don't understand. And it's just, there's so much stuff in this game that's crazy, and it kind of it seems like it's just a lot of setup. The other character they don't use a lot is Ryu. Ryu is completely underused in this game. I mean, not only that, they don't have Akuma, which, why wouldn't you have Akuma in this game? You have Chun-Li and Ryu, awesome. Change it up a bit. Give us M. Bison or Balrog. Put in Akuma. Put in one of the newer characters that have been in Street Fighter V. Why not? Ryu sure is a central character, and so is Chun-Li, but experiment, expand, put in some more characters from your other properties that would make good fits. The comedy falls flat in this game. The one-liners fall flat from the characters that are in this game. The story beats fall flat. The plot falls flat. Like, some of the characters that your villains are good. You have these villains from both franchises that are amazing. You have Death, Thanos, Ultron, Sigma. One of the other characters for Capcom, I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I am so sorry. I'm gonna look him up right now. But it's just, you have so many good opportunities to do so many things in this game, and you just don't. Like, it just baffles me that you can't, you know, make a better cohesive story than this one. And it just is so upsetting that you have so many good chances to do so many different things and you didn't. And you just messed it up. Like, I just don't understand, like, how you botched this is so bad, and just messed it up. Like, I don't understand. And then you got Mike Hagar is also in it too, and he just kind of, again, like Spider-Man, just shows up. Like, he doesn't even play a central character. He just is like, all right, well, I'm here now, whatever. And then it's just, I can't get over it. I'm sorry. There's just so many things that just don't work in this game, that especially for the story. Like, I don't know. So anyway, I think that guy's name, if I remember right, Hishin Ko? No, that's not him. Where is he? I can't remember. For anyone that knows his name, throw it down in the comments if you remember. I apologize. I can't remember right now, but he's a character. He looks like a vampire. He's purple. He has wings. Does all kinds of stuff. He just doesn't play a central part in this game, and I'm sorry for forgetting him. I mean, I'd probably remember him if he did more, but he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. He's just there. So I apologize. I don't remember his name, but it's how forgettable he is in the story. Now let's get into some good things about the story. Like I said earlier, some good renditions of characters that I liked were the Hulk. He got like that kind of Capcom cartoony rendition, and it works, in my opinion, for the Hulk, because just the way he looks, he's not really used at all in this game. So that's probably why it works, because you see him like the least out of all the characters in the story. So that's why it works, in my opinion. And he has this he's just grouped with Ryu in the game a lot, and I think that works because I like that dynamic between Ryu and the Hulk. That is kind of a cool character pairing of those two, and I like the way that worked out. Like I said, I like the way that the Hulk looks. I don't know. He just the way his green color and his persona kind of solidifies that animation style, and just him being with Ryu is something that works that I didn't think would. So that's one thing that I do like about this game. Another thing that I like is, to be quite honest, Iron Man. And I'm not like Iron Man's best. I like Captain America a lot more. Iron Man, for me, was the only character that I felt that they put time and effort into. Because Iron Man, he has, his motives. This is the reason why he's against this. This is the reason why he wants to do this. This is the reason why he's creating this, or he says this. And the one-liners from Iron Man, or the lines that he says, seem very organic. Like, those are things that he would say. Those are things that he would, tell all the other characters. And I feel like for Iron Man, it works, because that's Iron Man. That's who he is. And for that character, it works perfectly. But for other things, not so much. But he's one of the better characters in the story that actually his personality shows through, and his lines work for who he is as a character. Other than that, doesn't work. One of the last things that I liked is Thanos. I liked the voice actor for Thanos. I thought he was really good. Necessarily didn't like Thanos in the story because he really doesn't serve a purpose other than you're imprisoned, you get out because there's a last resort. You pretty much take over the hero team, and then you betray him and you leave because you're mad at your girlfriend. Death. Doesn't make sense. At the end of the story of the game, he steals Thanos steals the dark matter or spirit or whatever you want to call it that is inside Ryu. He takes that because he says it's such spiritual power that he's never felt before. And he goes to Death. Death's like, nothing can kill me. And Thanos is like, yeah, that's physical, but this is, I forget what it is that he says. And basically, Thanos makes like a dark Hadouken to throw at Death. And it is honestly the coolest thing that I saw in the game. I'm like, that's pretty sick. Like, imagine Thanos making a Hadouken out of like the dark energy that Ryu possessed to throw at Death. That's cool. Like, in my opinion, I'm like, that's cool. You have Thanos making a Hadouken. But what happens? They cut it off before he throws it. Thanos goes to make the Hadouken, goes to throw it, and before he even says Hadouken or throws the Hadouken, camera cuts, credits. Are you kidding? Like you took one of the coolest aspects of the game at the end of the game and just end it. Why? So, I don't know, but the idea of it is cool. Like I said, Mega Man kind of played a bigger role, but he's very forgettable. He's just like, all right, whatever, Mega Man. Whatever you did, what you did, Mega Man. The Capcom characters, a lot of them fall flat, except for Chris Redfield. He plays more of a leader. For the Capcom side, that's about it. That's all the characters I could really think of. Dante is given a bigger role in this game, but he doesn't do crap with it. He kind of takes it. That falls flat. The Marvel characters, it's centered around Cap kind of leading everyone, but he sucks as a leader in this game. That falls flat. It's just, if I had to rate it out of 5, I'm gonna give it. I'm probably gonna give it I'll say 2. I give it such. Now, granted, that's me being nice. I give it a 2 out of 5 because the gameplay is still Marvel versus Capcom, like every Marvel vs. Capcom, but the story's bad, the character renditions are bad, and there's just not many redeeming qualities of it. So that's my review of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the movie per se of it. If you want to see me do more of these, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what game you'd like for me to review or what movie you'd like for me to watch. If you like more of these, like I said, let me know, and I will do more. But that's just my review. I had to do it. I watched it. I'm like, I got to review this. I can't let this go unscathed. This is just so bad that I got to tell someone about it. So why not the internet? But all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on this review of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And I hope to see you guys in the next adventure. Bye, guys.